Hello everyone, welcome to watch my final presentation for the project in CS6460. My name is Sihao Wang. My project is about using data analysis to analyze whether the New York City elite high school admission test is fair. So at the beginning, I want to give a brief introduction on the background. Currently, there are 8 elite high schools in New York City. If you want to get admitted by the 8 elite high school, you need to take a standardized test called SHSAT at 8th grade. The test includes English and mathematics. Each year, more than 20,000 students take the test. However, this number only accounts 30% of students in New York City, which means more than 2/3 of students miss this test. A more severe issue is there are only 10% of students in elite high school are Hispanic or Black. However, Hispanic and Black students accounts around 70% population in New York City school districts. Another thing is the admitted students are not equally distributed by different middle schools. There are several middle schools control the majority students of elite high schools. Usually people call these schools are feeder school. All these inequalities cause a lot of people doubt whether the admission test is a fair game to all groups. In recent years, several organizations and government persons proposed to replace the admission test by some other ways. However, since the admission test is a standardized test, and there are also a lot of parents against this idea, all the proposals failed. So in this project, I define the feeder school as the schools which have more than 5 students admitted by elite high school in 2018. Then the first thing I want to check is which group is more likely to be underrepresented in the admission test. So in this picture, I draw the gender distribution of feeder school and non-feeder school. And from this picture, you can find they are pretty close. So I don't believe female students are underrepresented in this test. The second thing I want to examine is the race. So, like I said previously, the Hispanic and Black students are underrepresented. So I draw this picture, which is the distribution of Black and Hispanic students in feeder school and non-feeder school. We can find the feeder school and the non-feeder school differs a lot in these features. The median of non-feeder school is 0.93, which means more than 90% of students in a typical non-feeder school are Hispanic or Black. However, this number drops to 0.318. This is a huge difference. The third thing I want to examine is the relationship between families' economic level and the admission rate. So I defined a new variable called economic need index, which is the summation of a percentage of students who received free lunch, percentage of students who received HRA, and the percentage of students who lived in a temporary house. So from the second picture, you can find the difference between feeder school and a non-feeder school is also huge. From these two pictures, we can find the admission test is not only favored to students who comes from a rich Asian or white family, but also favors students who comes from a middle class Asian or white family. Then I examined the relationship of economic index and percentage of Hispanic and Black students. From this picture, you can find there is a strong linear relationship between those two features. And in this scatter plot, each point represents a middle school. The size of point represents the number of students which get admitted by elite high school. We can find there are a lot of small black points on the top right corner, which means all these schools are full of students from a poor Hispanic or black family. They do not have even one student get admitted by the elite high school. So, based on the things I introduced previously, I believe there is a need for the government to take some actions. In my opinion, the best way to solve the current situation is not to just assign some more seats to those to underrepresented groups, but to provide some free or low cost after school program to help the students in this non-feeder school to get a good grade in the admission test. I believe there are a lot of gifted students in these non-feeder schools. These kids cannot get admitted not for their talent, but for their family's financial issues. If we can provide a free after-school program to help these kids, there will be more black and Hispanic students get admitted. However, since the budget of school district may be limited, we may need to select some candidate schools which has a great potential to become a feeder school to offer the free after-school program. So to find out the candidate schools, I used K-means clustering algorithm to do this job. From this picture, you can see I cluster the schools into three groups. The features I used for clustering only contains the school's academic information, like the average score in mathematics, average score in English, the student-teacher ratio, the average class size. It doesn't include any demographic information. So from this picture, we can find cluster A has the highest academic score. I check the cluster A and find 60% of schools in cluster A are feeder school. Then the rest 40% non-feeder school are good candidates. Then schools in cluster A which has a high proportion of black and Hispanic students are the schools we need to help first. So in this picture, I plotted the candidate school on the map, and you can find most schools are in upper New York City and Brooklyn. We can also plotted the black and Hispanic distribution in New York City by district. The darker color means there is a high percentage of black and Hispanic people live here. We can find the upper New York City and Brooklyn are the two districts predominated by Hispanic and black people, which matched my previous picture. So that's what I did in this project. Thank you for your watching.